7 a.m. Thanks for joining us for our How to Write a Winning Fuel Up to Play 60 grant. We're glad you could log in this morning and join us. And we'll be going through a number of slides here, but we should have plenty of time at the end if you have any questions. The grant application is currently open, and we hope you all apply for some grant money for your school. And in case you can't stay on the whole time, please feel free to write in questions or send us an email. Our email addresses are on our website. They're also on the last slide. So we will go ahead and get started here. And if you have any thoughts, let us know at the end.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Mary Nicholson. And to get started with writing a winning grant, first of all, you need to visit fueluptoplay60.com and sign up as a program advisor just by checking the box, I will be a program advisor. So that's pretty simple. You also need to assemble a group of students who are going to help you choose plays and implement them throughout your school. And this can be a group of students who's already formed, like a student council group, or you're certainly welcome to select students that you want to work with yourself. One of the first steps is completing the school wellness investigation that you'll find on your dashboard once you sign up as a program advisor. There's a module titled Funds/School Wellness, and you would click on the SWI tab, and that's the school wellness investigation. Also on the Funds tab, when you click for more information, you'll get an overview and also a link to review the application so you can see what kinds of questions will be asked and what kind of information will be needed. Now, new this year, if you complete the school wellness investigation online, suggested plays from the playbook will be generated. And again, these are just suggestions. You don't have to use them, but if you're just getting started, it's a good way to see what might be workable in your school. And regarding the school wellness investigation, don't worry about the scores that you get on that because it doesn't affect the awarding of funds. It's just a tool for you to use to get a baseline to see where you can make changes in your school. Also, at the end of the funding period, you'll be asked to fill out another school wellness investigation so we can see the results of the plays that you've implemented. And also, if your school or district has recently completed the CDC's School Health Index, you can use the responses as a reference when completing the school wellness investigation.
A few quick tips when beginning to fill out the application. Be sure to include all of the administrators and wellness directors that are on board with Fuel Up to Play 60 program. We found that the more administrative support that you have at your school, the better. And often your cafeteria manager, nutrition director will have the access to certain foods that you want to include in some of these grants that you're applying for, so it's always important to definitely include them. When selecting your eating healthy play from the playbook, as I said, be sure to include the school nutrition director, and that is the reason why. And also a big term to keep in mind when applying is that we're looking for sustainability, and that's the key when choosing healthy eating and physical activity plays. And we're wanting you to implement programs that will impact the entire school and continue year after year after this funding is exhausted. So good examples of these would be the breakfast in the classroom that we've seen as a healthy eating play, and also many schools have done a walking club or running club for their physical activity play. And these two are great examples because year after year you can keep them going, and it's not something that's a one-time Zumba class or something like that. So that's great. Also, for the healthy eating play choice, if you're implementing an enhanced breakfast program like the Grab and Go or the breakfast in the classroom, be sure to list this as your main eating healthy play. As I was saying, food is not as sustainable, but the breakfast in the classroom program is. And also, new this year, you need to check out the new and enhanced 2014-2015 plays that are eligible for funds. The healthy eating plays focus on all school meals throughout the day, and this, for the first time, includes snacks. And the physical activity plays provide opportunities for these physical activities to take place inside and outside of regular school hours, and ideas that include your entire community. And as you all know, success of the Fuel Up Play 60 program is important for the in-school, but also when you have the community backing your program. And also for the June funding deadline, schools that successfully apply for Grab and Go anytime will be awarded food service equipment for their school, and this is valued at $2,000. So that's a great opportunity to take advantage of. And this equipment includes items such as the refrigerated cooler to serving milk or a movable kiosk with the cashier area, both hot commodities, I know, at all schools. And schools are eligible to receive this funding for their physical activity play as well. So you definitely want to keep that in mind if you start filling out your application.
A few more tips for filling out your application is be sure to keep students involved. Fuel Up to Play is really a student-centered program, so keep students in mind when you're making decisions and actually doing the legwork for the school wellness investigation. You know, peers listen to their peers a lot more than they may listen to adults, so put your students to work and let them be the legs of the program. Also on the budget, itemizing everything is very important. You know, just a lump sum of money, say for food, doesn't give us enough detail to be able to make a good decision on awarding grants. So be sure to make a lot of details there. And also request only what you need. In the past, we found a number of schools that request, you know, what they think they'll need, and they find they really haven't spent it all by the end of the year. So, you know, give some thought into how much you're really going to need and request that much. And also, again, be sure to include as many students as possible in the nutrition and physical activity plays. You know, we're trying to get plays that will impact the whole school or the greatest majority of students as opposed to just a small group or club.
And next, who to involve in the grant writing. A principal would be a great person, as well as the child nutrition coordinator, a PE teacher, a school nurse, or a health coordinator. A teacher, oftentimes parents, should be involved and aren't. They have opinions. And wellness council or the student council. And also a program advisor needs to be identified. And this doesn't mean the program advisor has to be the one filling out the grant, but there needs to be a program advisor identified in the application. So keep that in mind when you get to that question.
Okay, the application checklist, which is available in the overview, simply you want to create a winning playbook by picking your healthy eating and physical activity plays from the playbook, and be sure to address the sustainability of your plays, and be sure to write down your thinking of your plans. A lot of times we'll get just kind of highlights of what a plan is, and it's not enough information for us to know what your school environment is like. So keep in mind that the reviewers have probably never stepped foot in your school, so you need to really spell it out. And that falls in with making sure to answer the questions thoroughly. You know, if a question asks how your funds support a certain play, address the dollar amount and how it will be used. And also grammar and spelling and complete sentences, it shows attention to detail, and that is considered in the scoring process. And also make sure you have an evaluation plan in place, you know, kind of a pre-test, post-test kind of thing set up so that you know whether your plays have had a positive impact or no impact, or what you might change next time around. And again, the detailed budget is very important.
Then a couple more basics before we get into some examples of past grants. What is a healthy eating play? These plays must describe how students will be encouraged to eat each of the food groups, and this includes the low-fat dairy, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. And with this, you must have the support of the school nutrition director. As I said, they're a very important part of the success of your program, and also they need to be informed of what you're trying to get out of the program and with these funds, especially when food is involved. So also with taste testing, there's a suggested budget is not more than 60 cents per student, and this is a good little tidbit to keep in mind when creating that detailed budget. And also, funds cannot be used for food that is sold to students, as in like a snack bar or after-school activity.
Okay, and what is a physical activity play? This is where we need to have you explain what your activity is going to be and how it will impact the students and the number of students. So the more students involved, the better. Even staff can be included in the physical activity plays. And, you know, is this something that will be done in school, once a week, once a month, daily, that sort of thing. And also, for those of you that are physical activity teachers, when you're using terms or programs like FitnessGram or other nationally known programs, we need an explanation of what these are, because we're not from that arena, so we don't always know what these programs are or how they're used or how they would impact your students. So help us out there and explain what things are.
All right, now into the nitty-gritty of what to avoid. As we've stressed many times over, we're looking for detail for what exactly you will be doing with these Fuel Up to Play 60 funds. And so this is an example. I know the print is small of a past application, so the questions may not match up entirely with the current form, but this kind of gives an idea of what we're not looking for. So, for example, if you look there on the left-hand side, question number 12 asks, how will your healthy eating play promote foods from all food groups? Under low-fat, non-fat dairy, this person just wrote, it will show children there's more variety of dairy than just milk and cheese. That doesn't really tell us what's getting accomplished there. Also under fruits and vegetables, encourage them to eat more. That's a nice thought, but what exactly, how are you going to do that? And also whole grains, promote different grains other than bread, so children will be encouraged to eat. But how will you be doing that? Then on the right-hand side there, you can see over what length did you participate. This was for physical activity play to be active in your school, 1 to 2 months. We would just like an expansion on the details. So how will you be doing this, and how will it stick around, and again, how will it be sustainable in your school past the 1 to 2 month mark? So all of these things are important. And also in the physical activity section, it says there that the play is for the Walk for Wellness Club, but when asked about how funding will be used, it mentions the purchasing of gym equipment. That doesn't necessarily tie into this Walk for Wellness Club. So you really do need to take the time to think about what you're wanting to accomplish and what program can continue and remain in your school after the current year is concluded.
Now I know this slide is a little tricky to read as well, but this gives a great example of some things that should be included. For example, the question on how will funding be used to help accomplish your physical activity play, this person explained very well what they were going to be doing, how the whole school was going to be involved. They had the school superintendent involved in the program. They mentioned on the last Friday of the month, students and staff will be encouraged to participate in their activity. So they went through a lot of detail, even saying what they would do at the end of the year with their physical activity play. And that was question 21 on the right. Over on the left, regarding the low-fat, non-fat dairy section, how they would be promoting it, they explained very well. They will be developing new low-fat, non-fat yogurt smoothies for parfaits and for the students to sample. The smoothies will be made with blueberries to create the Wolverine smoothie, which was the theme of their school. And this would be carried over to the Wolverine Parfait, which would include blueberries, low-fat, non-fat yogurt, and granola. They will also offer fruit varieties such as strawberry and banana, and the students will vote to determine the school favorite. So that tells the complete story and gives us a very good idea of how their funding would be used.
And also previously mentioned was that detailed budget, and you'll see here, this is a great example of what a budget sheet should look like when applying for a grant. It breaks down the specific items and quantities for everything. So many applications that we've received in the past, when a budget line is provided for food for sampling, they just give a specific or a dollar amount. Well, that's not really specific enough because we don't know what you're wanting to use that dollar amount for. So if you just request, for example, $1,600, we need to know how you're going to use that $1,600. So we really need a breakdown of that budget. And also this shows how students are involved with the planning and implementation of the plays and tracking of the results. And if this isn't included in how you're going to track, we don't really know how your plays, how they're affecting the success of the program. So we really need you to think about how you're going to be able to track the healthy eating and physical activity plays and go from there. So that information is great to include as well.
And that concludes our presentation for writing a winning grant. And we do have time for some questions. If anybody has a question, you can raise your hand and we'll see if we can answer. You can also write in questions, and would be happy to answer. And of course, if you have questions later on, that's how I usually am. I don't think of it right now, but feel free to contact us anytime. Our contact information is up there, and we'd be happy to answer your questions.
There are a couple questions. One is when is the next grant time frame?
Okay, this current grant period is June 4th is the deadline, and then the next one after that is November 5th. And those will be the only two grant periods for the next school year.
And we have another question. What if you have monies left over at the end of the year?
We would appreciate a call or an email saying how you would like to spend the money. Technically, you know, if there's money left over, it should be returned to us, but if you can tell us how you would spend it for the next school year, that's generally fine with us, but we just need to know what your plans are and, you know, the amount and how you would have it. A lot of schools may end up with an end-of-the-year school party where they can use those funds, but we're pretty open, but we just need to know.
And is there any help planning a budget?
Well, that's a great question. We'd certainly be glad to walk through any questions you had, and I think that might be more specific to your particular school and school enrollment, but we'd be happy to help with that. Are there any other questions?
I don't see any questions or hands raised.
And as mentioned in the last reminder, for the webinar, we are giving away 3 $25 Visa gift cards to 3 lucky participants, and these have just been randomly selected. But if you will send me, this is Brooke Schultz, send me an email and let me know your contact information so I can send these out. The 3 lucky winners this morning at 7:20ish, bright and early, are Stephanie Filgus, I believe, Mark John, and Kathleen Pretchel. Again, these are Stephanie Filgus, Mark John, and Kathleen Pretchel. And I apologize if I am not pronouncing those correctly. And it looks like we do have one more question here.
Would this be a grant to apply for every year?
That's a good question, too. These grants are really meant to jumpstart your program. They aren't intended to, be a part of your regular budget. So that's why we are so concerned about the sustainability of your plans. That's not to say you can't apply every year, but preference is given to new applicants over people that have applied year after year. So keep that in mind, but it really is designed to help start a program. All right, well, we sure thank you for your time this morning. The slides that we have will be available on our website, so you can refer to them.
The website is winnersdrinkmilk.com, winnersdrinkmilk.com.
And that will wrap things up. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.